Warrior Wednesday is here. Please, let's check in with a 5 by 5. I always like to make sure you can hear me because with all the technology, one never knows sitting in the middle of New York City. So please weigh in for me so I know everything is A-OK. Welcome to the Warriors. Thank you for being here. We're going to cover kind of a lightning round today of fantastic topics. It's a very energetic day. I actually feel like I have whiplash, everybody. And that is normally in New York City from the e-bikes that are zooming by in every different direction. You've got to look this way, that way. However, today is all about Washington and what's happening here in New York City. So let's jump in. Lionel Nation says, loud and clear, that is good enough for me. Let's start with something very important that happened in Washington today, and that was a meeting at the Senate Judiciary Committee, and that is headed by Chairman Chuck Grassley. This was such an important committee meeting because it, as witnesses, had Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee, Senator Amy Klobuchar. I am pointing out completely bipartisan. All the issues we work on here at the Warriors and human slavery, exploitation, protecting our children. I think all of us can agree these are human rights issues, abuses. They belong to no political party. Everything we do is bipartisan. And I'm so happy to see the doors are open in Washington and bipartisan is surely happening as it relates to these issues of protection. Today was a committee hearing on digital safety with the advent of AI. Now, you, me, the kids, we have not seen any of it yet, what is about to happen. But we do know, because the last decade proved to us, that big tech puts profit over human dignity. They want to make a buck, is the bottom line, over protection of children. And we will not allow it on our watch being the Warriors, and also in Washington with senators like Marsha Blackburn, Amy Klobuchar, and a host of others, again bipartisan, that we are going to hold big tech accountable. They are going to have to step in somehow, some way. We're going to have some guardrails. Okay, before I go into that, let's check in with everybody. I see Fred is here. Fred, I am happy to see you. Thank you, Fred, for always being such a warrior, putting comments on our YouTube videos. I like that. Edie's one of our biggest warriors. And Edie, I'm going to beat you to it. Don't forget, like the videos, join, come on, be a member for $2.99 a month. It's cheaper than a cup of coffee. We need to get the Warriors onto that super highway on this whole YouTube platform so we can spread the information, and we're nearly there. We just need more subscribers, so make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're liking, you're sharing, you're talking about it. Everything, every little bit helps. I am telling you, the new administration, the doors are open. We have a seat at the table, and we are so proud and honored you are along for the ride with us. Marguerite is here. Oh, hello, Marguerite. She's saying hello from Googie and Butch. Interesting. Welcome. Welcome, Googie and Butch. Then we have Linda. Hello, Warriors. Lori Lewis, one of our regulars. Lori, thank you so much. Lori provides a super sticker. Thank you. Alfred's here. Come on. Alfred's like, come on, people, hit the like button. Alfred, if that's your real name, but we'll leave it at that. I want to just get back to spending another minute on today's Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. So important because we are going to protect kids. It has nothing to do. If you look up any kind of PR, anything online, you will read nothing but we're trying to steal your privacy. We are trying to invade your privacy. It has nothing to do with anybody's privacy. It has to do with the protection of minors. Now, I don't know about you. Call me wacky, everybody. But I always thought anything that was related, exploitation to minors, is illegal. So why has it been allowed for so long to go on? With the internet, remember, the internet was born in 1996. Now, you have to understand this to understand where we're at today, which is almost 30 years ago, 1996, right? You have to understand when the internet was born, they put something in place called Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Today's judiciary hearing also addressed that Section 230 that is approaching its 30th birthday now needs to be sunsetted, go down, or amended. It no longer applies because what it stated at the time is, and I'm going to have to believe everybody had good intentions then. They did not know the internet would be this runaway train and there'd be all this predation because after all, we don't think like that, right? Regular people, normal people don't think about, all this predation against kids. So I'm going to say that, excuse me for a moment. Uh, Sorry about that. They meant good in 1996, but 29 years old, almost 30 years old. So now we have to amend that Section 230, or we have to just get rid of it and we have to create something new. It basically says, because I don't want to bore you with all the words that go with this Section 230, the internet is a billboard, the internet is a newsstand. Any platforms, Facebook, Twitter, they didn't even have those platforms then. They cannot be held responsible. They are merely, hosting the content. But we've learned so much from then, right? So why are we allowing this Section 230 CDA, Communications Decency Act, to stand in our way? It's got to go away. I don't even believe in amending it. I believe in brand new. We are in a brand new world, right? Everybody should agree with me way in here that nothing holds. Don't you feel like, especially, actually, I feel like since January, we're in a whole new world. It is, and that's just a few weeks ago. Everything is changing every day. You can't predict. Things are happening so fast that that's why I've got this head thing going today. I do digress for 1 second to say that President Trump has, and I have to catch up on it because I've been working all afternoon on phones and meetings, this, that, something like, or done with congestion tax, the congestion pricing, which is if you live in New York City below 60th Street and you take your car out, you travel into the city, or trucks, anything to do with cars, trucks, you have to pay this congestion tax, congestion fee, congestion something, right? And this Governor Kathy Hochul, so there's something going on, and President Trump said, we're not doing it. We're stopping it. It's not fair. It's affecting businesses. It's affecting, people can't afford all this stuff. I am so thrilled. I heard it would be happening. I have to follow up and see, actually, are these tolls now shut down? I heard there was right away the MTA, Metropolitan Transit Authority here in New York, was suing the Trump administration. So I'm not clear on the details yet, except President Trump said people can't afford it. We're not charging them. We need people in the cities. We need businesses. We need Broadway. We need shopping. We need truck deliveries. And don't forget, it is his hometown. So I have very high hopes he's going to be cleaning things up. That being said, I do want to share with you that the streets are remarkably cleaner. This is just all in a couple of weeks. I am not seeing all these strange goings on that I was seeing. And I do believe, since President Trump, it is his hometown, that you are going to see, and I am going to see living here, because I am a New Yorker through and through, along with my husband, and always have been, although I grew up in New Jersey, that the city is swinging back. The pendulum is swinging back. And I, for one, I was out all day yesterday. I'm not seeing all kinds of people on the streets. I'm not seeing people on scooters and bicycles and mopeds and crazy cars with paper license plates. Like, they all fled. I don't know where they went. They went somewhere. They're not here. And I, for one, am so happy. The city is coming back. And that means more business and more tourists and more everything. And it's terrific. Let's see. Edie is now, I like Alfred. He's saying, come on, people, hit the like button. Yeah, it's free, everybody. You could hit the like button. I'm going to be a little forceful today because we are so close to that 10,000 subscriber mark that we have to do everything in our power to get there, to get onto that new lane. Because I want these videos to be, especially the videos when I do interviews with experts and survivors, I want the public to be able to access them and see them. And you also, I want them to go into rotations more, right? So it's very important that everybody here participate in some way. And Alfred says, Long Island loves New York. Alfred, and New York loves Long Island. I'm going to leave it at that. Beautiful beaches on Long Island, some just beautiful communities out there. That brings me to my next story, everybody. I couldn't be happier about this one. This is why I have whiplash again today. If you're a follower of the Warriors, and I think many of you are here, we have spoken before to our border czar, Tom Homan. We have interviewed him. Also, our great friends and colleagues, Jason Jones, who works for Newsmax, but also is a border patrol, Texas, that whole area, Jason Jones. Also, Derek Maltz, senior, I should say, who now has come out of retirement, DEA New York, and now DEA, I think he's called now. He just stepped into this about a week and a half ago, DEA administrator. These men have told me repeatedly, all through the, I don't even want to say it, but I will because I want to give it a little context here. The Biden administration, okay, we have to say Biden Harris. I like to give them equal billing for equal failing, everybody. But anyway, they would say to me when I would interview them or talk to them, Lynn, we have to declare the cartels. We have to declare MS-13. We have to declare Trendy Aragua. And this is when nobody was talking about Trendy Aragua. I was talking about it because these men, and my sources would fill me in about this horror of this Venezuelan gang who would just take anything they want. Organized crime theft rings around the city, walking into CVS's and just in front of everybody swiping, carts full of goods and nobody did anything. Walking into the Dwayne Reeds we have here, walking into the Bloomingdales and stealing clothes and Bergdorf Goodmans. Nobody did a thing. So these men said these terrorist organizations, and they are indeed terrorist organizations, must be declared as such terrorist organizations, a threat to our national security. And President Trump today signed that they indeed are a terrorist threat to our nation. And I couldn't be happier. So, I get very, I'm just thrilled. So many things are happening at this pace. They are ready. They are ready. I can't wait. What are we into? Week 4? I don't even know. Yeah, about week 4. So many great things are happening. MS-13 has always been primarily here in New York, pretty much based out on Long Island. But what happened? So they've been around probably 15 years, right? Dealing their drugs, doing their little petty crimes. We've always known about them. They exploded on the scene when the cartels, this is what you have to understand about that horrible, I just said to my husband this morning, it'll hit me like once a day. Can you believe what we've been through in the last 4 years? What was done to our country? What was done to people? People just trying to survive and take care of their kids and, pay for the car and pay the mortgage or the rent and buy food. And what was done to them? Because every day I'm receiving press releases and updates and reading things. I can't believe the horror we've been through. And you do know with trafficking, remember we call it slavery at the Warriors, nothing was done under the Biden administration. A reminder, they just opened the borders. Come here, anybody you want. Come, take, rape, rob, kill, whatever you want to do, it's yours and we'll pay you to do it. Can you imagine that horror was allowed to go on? So now it's shut down. So what happened? The cartels were very nicely with their little app. Remember the app where they're organizing in other countries and they're showing up in San Diego and they're being escorted onto buses and trains and taking off and being given $4,000 and all those NGOs, which we talked about forever at the Warriors. I wanted accountability and transparency. All of those 96 NGOs that we know about that were getting millions upon millions of dollars from our taxes, from our federal government, that were supposed to be taking care of children, vetting these unaccompanied minors with the sponsors. And we know, because I had too many reports, too many sightings, too many people telling me things, a man would pull up in a truck and take 20 kids. There's no vetting. There's no anything. Where are these 20 kids going? That same man, he'll show up 5 days later, pick up another 20 kids. This was nothing but a money-making scheme, sex trafficking, labor trafficking operation, who knows what. All we do know is we've got over 500,000 unaccompanied minors in this country, basically illegal alien children. Let's call it what it is. They're here illegally. So we're going to have to deal with that. But right now, let's get back. I want to explain about the cartels, make sure you understand. They were very nicely working, in my Warrior's opinion, hand in hand with the Biden-Harris administration in the biggest human trafficking operation in the entire world. They were. That's the only way I can look at this, right? So the cartels once, and this was something I was told was never seen before at the level. So they would bring these people over, right? Illegal aliens, that's what I call them. I don't say immigrants, because immigrants are people who want to come here legally, and they also want to assimilate to our way of life. I've had too many people tell me they studied for 7, 8, 9 years. They had to learn about what is Christmas. They had to learn about how to make a turkey, all kinds of things about the American lifestyle, right? And so these people just crashed, stole, broke through the gates, the pretend gates, because there weren't gates, right? And so they're illegal aliens. That is the correct term, not migrants, right? Migrants, those are the people who they're coming here for a better life and assimilating. Now, indeed, I did see a lot of women with kids. I'm sure you'd come, I'd come. If we heard come, we'll pay for it. You're making, and I don't exaggerate, $5 a week, and we'll educate you and house you. We'd probably come too. Let's face it, everybody. But the cartels, what they were doing is they would bring the people here, and especially the girls and women, and they would continue keeping them in this debt bondage. So they never were able to pay off the cartel, the trafficker, right? They were forced into the sex trade, and that was going on in front of all these hotels that were supposed to be the family hotels here in New York City. Disgusting. We have one around the corner. I don't even see people in front of it anymore. It's actually closing down by May 31st, and 7 of the biggest hotels in this neighborhood with families. Again, I couldn't be more thrilled. But think about, these are human beings, girls and women, being trafficked outside in cars, and nobody was doing anything. The police weren't allowed to do their job. They're told, just let the people be, whatever. Horrible. So the cartels were forever holding these chains around people. These chains, and I'm sure all of you have seen the reports in the last 48 hours, where basically at the border, it's dropped to a couple of hundred as opposed to several thousand. That being said, and I've talked about it a lot, the problem has always been Canada and upstate New York. That is wide open land. There aren't gates and fences and border patrol and all of that going on, and that's like hundreds of miles. So that has been the place that it is going on right now. But I also have to point out there are a lot of things going on with the Trump administration behind the scenes that we're not hearing about. I mean, pro actions, right? Things are being taken care of. So you and I should be so thrilled, and also for children, we should be so happy. So right now, as you know, all of the criminals, the horrible people, are being taken out of the country. Next, the Trump administration and Tom Homan, border czar, will deal with the children. We know basically where these children are. That being said, we have to figure out, we return all the children, we have a plan where we can keep them and help them. We'll have to see about that, what the president wants to do about that. So that's good news. And the other good news is tomorrow I'll be spending the day in Brooklyn, leaving very early in the morning. We have a beautiful summit. It is going to be Lifeway Network, which is something we work with them, colleagues of ours, 2 safe houses, one here in Queens, one in Brooklyn. And they have a most excellent program to help people reclaim their lives. You see, the problem with all of this exploitation, it's great to say it's bad, it's horrible. We don't have places to put people. There aren't safe spaces. And Lifeway has 2 beautiful homes. So we work very closely with them. And they, along with the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, doing incredible work. When I say incredible, because both of these, the Brooklyn DA and also Lifeway, I like to say, I use this analogy a lot, a wheel with a lot of spokes, right? One spoke is, victims, survivors, safe spaces, psychological, physical, medical, job training. All these things make the wheel go around. Everything's a different spoke. But we don't have all those spokes. You can't just take somebody from the sex trade. What are you going to do with them? You have to have a safe space. And staying someplace for 3 nights or a week does not work. Most people will go back into the sex trade. It's the only thing they know. It's the only way they can make a buck, because there's nothing out there for them. So tomorrow we are coming together. The Warriors will be front and center with Lifeway Network and Executive Director Ali Boak. She is relatively new at Lifeway and comes from Montclair State University, my old stomping grounds. And she's a wealth of knowledge. She's been doing an incredible job in the last 6 months or so. Actually, you can find the interview. I interviewed her here in the Warriors. Make sure you go through and hear from these people. Look at what these people are doing. There's so many people doing incredible work, but she's got a lot of great ideas, along with Assistant DA Dave Weiss, another colleague of ours, and we are going to have a summit with law enforcement about where are we putting people. Like, it's changing. We are going to get the resources. We are going to get the spaces. We are going to create. So I for one, am very, very excited about this, and I'll report back to you, because this is the one piece in all of this exploitation that's really missing. It's great to say. I actually say it out loud all the time at meetings. We know it's bad. We know it's escalating. We know it's overwhelming, but let's have solutions. Solutions mean you have to have resources and manpower, right? Woman power. We're going to do it. And we're going to do it because, and I'm going to say, because the Trump administration is open to all of this and allowing it to go on where our hands were tied before. We're going to now, in the next couple of years, make tremendous strides in this area. I'm going to be very realistic with everybody. We are not going to stop sex and labor trafficking, human trafficking, right? We're just not. People don't like when I say that. I used to not say it. Now I'm saying it. It is too big. It makes too much money. There are too many people complicit and involved. But what we can do is put a dent in it. What we can do is prevent new victims, educate you, raise awareness, build places for people to reclaim their lives and get them out of this exploitation. I am very hopeful. I am very excited, actually, that this is happening, because for 4 years, nothing. Okay, let me see what you're all saying. Let's see. Fred says, no, Alfred says, Trump wiped out MS-13 here on Long Island during first term. They came back with Biden, Kamala. It's hard for me to say that word because she's been stalking the city, everybody. She went to 2 Broadway shows the other day, and okay, I have to erase that image out of my mind. Let me start over. But what I was getting at, I don't think I said it, is MS-13 was kind of under the radar, but the cartels, when they came in over the last few years, started working with MS-13, or I should say they told MS-13, you're working with us now. So MS-13 was empowered, and they also exploded in their confidence, and they were very much a part of these organized criminal theft rings that have been going on. The ones I was talking about, stealing from the CVS and, going through Bloomingdale's, taking out armloads of clothes, and everybody's standing there. Nobody's doing anything because, frankly, the police were not allowed to do their jobs. It's not their fault. If they were even apprehended, no judge here in New York, nobody was sentencing them. Out the door they go. It's over. It's ending. It's done. So now that MS-13, along with cartels and this trendy Aragua, the most violent, vicious gang, and when I talked about it about 2 years ago, people told me, what are you talking about? That sounds crazy. Those aren't the kind of people that are here in our country now. I said, yes, they are. Yes, they are. And you know what? They're all going out. We have to erase our minds from this horror. So this is all such good news. Fred says, I think they probably bribe or blackmail members of Congress to stand down. I don't know what they do, but I would imagine from our work in Washington, all I can say to you is, I really think a lot of these members of Congress, because I'm always like, okay, how does somebody like Bernie Sanders, we know what they make, what, 180,000 a year, something like that. How do they afford 3, 4 homes? Martha's Vineyard, or I don't know, these shore homes. And I'm always like, how are they affording all of this? They basically, here's what happens in Washington. Everybody comes Congress for Tuesday, Wednesday, and they leave Thursday afternoon. They are not there. You don't go and do any business in Washington on a Monday or Friday. It's just not, unless something special is going on, then for them. But they're just there the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon, and they clear out to their homes, their districts. I think they just toe the line. And I think when they're done in Congress, they want to either go somewhere where they can make a lot of money. Maybe that's a bank board. Maybe that's, or a financial company. Big tech, big tech rules the roost. They pay their lobbyists thousands, did you hear me? Thousands of dollars an hour to work in Washington. And somebody little old me, I go of my own free will. I go on my own dime. I go on the donations that you give me, uh, to buy that train ticket, to do all of this. But when somebody's getting paid $1,500 an hour, $2,000 an hour, they will knock you right down in a hallway to talk to a senator. They have no shame, these people. So I think members of Congress kind of toe the line and they're thinking about their next steps, right? That being said, who knows? Who knows what's really going on there? All I think we can all agree on is a lot is going on there. But a lot of good people now. Senator Marsha Blackburn has more going on than I can even list here for you, as far as empowering families, protecting children, reintroducing our Kids Online Safety Act. She's doing a tremendous job. That's why today's Senate Judiciary Committee hearing was so important, because not one real piece of federal legislation has been passed to protect kids really since 1996. Now, we just had the Take It Down Act, which the Warriors are a part of, holding big tech responsible, passed the Senate. Now it's with the House. So it has to pass the House so we can have federal legislation. Simply, big tech bears the burden, the duty of care, if they get a report of a sexual image, dialogue, anything inappropriate. They have 48 hours to take it down, or they are held responsible, financially able to get a fine for their crime. So this is good news, but we still have to get it through the House. So we really don't have any bills. We've got a stockpile of bills that were introduced and are being introduced. Kids Online Safety Act will be reintroduced. Remember, Warriors, you have to start with every new Congress. We had it in the 118th, right? That ended. We're now in the 119th. Got to start fresh, but we're doing it. It's all happening. I'm telling you, so many great things are happening in Washington. I can't even keep track of it right now. Let's see what everybody's saying. Linda says, BFF from Ireland took 12 years until she had everything in order. We are so happy to BFF. 12 years. I have an immigration colleague out in San Diego, and her parents were migrants and brought her here as a child. She now works as an immigration attorney. They did everything correctly. But she would tell me how her mom had to study and had to go to cooking classes and had to go to sewing classes. Now, fast forward, she became an immigration attorney. Her people were so upset because they're studying, they're learning, they're doing everything right. And these people just crash the gates, the imaginary gates. How horrible for people like that who want to come here, really be an American and add to our society, add to our economy, right? But it's all, let's not dwell on it because it's all ending, right? Let's manifest. Let's put it out there. It is. We're seeing this in a few short weeks, ending. Court is saying hello to everybody. There's Nita. Angelica's here. Very grateful for sure. Everybody better be very grateful. That being said, I want to point something out. Hillbilly says all politicians care about is reelection. Well, you know what we should be caring about? And it's funny because I say this every day, and I say it to my husband. It's not even about now. We must remain vigilant 24/7, 365. It is about 4 years from now. Obviously, President Trump will not be running for president again, but we must, in my opinion, just ease into J.D. Vance. We must continue all of this work that has been done in 3 weeks, right? 3-4 weeks now. We must not rest. We must, because I am telling you, for the children, for the families, the next thing that's going to be addressed, Elon Musk will be looking at everything with the Board of Education and all this school stuff around the country and see what's going on with that. We are big supporters of school choice. You pay taxes. You get to pick the school you want to go to. You can do public, you can do private, you can do charter, you can do homeschool. I'm very upset here in New York. It was just announced that 7 Catholic schools are shutting down. And my first thought, they're shutting down, and they're in very vulnerable neighborhoods, right? Vulnerable communities where those parents really struggle to pay those tuitions to the Catholic churches, the Catholic schools, right? Where is the help for them? Because now these children will be forced to go into the public school system in New York, which is not very good, everybody, okay? I'm very upset about that with all of these lawsuits and the history. And I'm a Catholic, so I can say whatever I want about the Catholic Church. Why aren't these schools either being consolidated or being helped out to be a drop in the bucket with all of these monies being sent on these illegals and everything else going on? So many people are so upset about that. I'm very upset about that because I don't, if we can keep kids out of the New York City public school the way it's been running now, running now, that's what we should be doing. So that's just a terrible, terrible thing that they're closing down. And also, I just heard back again in my old stomping grounds, Montclair, New Jersey, Immaculate Conception. Their school is shutting down, 100 years old. And when I read the statement, it was like, well, the building's crumbling. Well, okay, Catholic Church, maybe spend some money and fix it up because, you spend a lot of money on those lawsuits with the priests. People want to keep their kids in that environment. And also uniforms, right? Uniforms are great. You don't have to worry about clothes. I think it's great for kids. You just put your clean shirt on every day and socks. Everybody kind of looks alike. I actually think there's no competition with clothes, buying things, monies. So we've got all that. We've got to look at the schools. That being said, um, there is a push with getting the phones out of the classrooms. A very good thing. They announced in the UK yesterday that people are doing, not only children, a digital detox. They're a little further ahead with all of these things in the UK, as they have some laws for kids with the internet, and people are really. This is when I tell you the pendulum is swinging back ever so slightly. Although I think it's going to be picking up as this year goes along. They putting the phones down. They want to meet people at restaurants, movies, real life. They want to talk. They want to communicate. They want to have the eye contact. So they're going to these events. They're called digital detox, and you check your phone at the door. And I think you pay, it was equivalent to like $11.97 to attend this event. Obviously, there's always money involved in something, but that gives you an idea. You can do that in your own home. What do we always tell you at the Warriors? Lead by example. Put your phones down. I know it's hard, right? I mean, even I sleep with the phone next to the bed in case somebody needs to get a hold of me in the middle of the night. But put your phones down. Start with 15 minutes a day. Go look at a book. I don't care what you do, just put the phone down and work up. Let the kids, especially if you're around kids, grandchildren, let them see you do it as well. Because we do have that alpha gen or gen alpha, whatever it's called, the 0 to 14-year-olds, they are very interested in real life situations from all of our focus groups, from all of our studies we have coming out. That is very promising. That is very, I'm going to say delicious, that they want to actually do other things than be on the phone. Because remember, our poor Gen Zers, born in the digital, under this digital umbrella bubble, right? Not their fault. Digital, Gen Z is, there's Alpha, there's Gen Z, there's baby boomers, there's millennials. It is hard to keep track of all these things. But the Gen Z born 1997 to 2012, so that's basically 13 to 28-year-olds, right? However, they are coming out. I'll leave you with this. A new study came out, and they are trusting to get information and advice, including medical, from influencers on the internet. And it's not because they don't trust the experts, which would be doctors or educators or philosophers or somebody running a corporation, a CEO. It's because, now hear me out on this one, they are so used to being on their device. It's easy, it's quick. They like video, they like pictures, and they like the way an influencer acts, as opposed to you got to call or go online, you got to make an appointment, you got to go out of your house, you got to go here to an office, maybe to a doctor. We'll use a doctor as an example. They don't want to be bothered with all of that. They've grown up in I call it the swipe world. Just keep going. That's where the addictions, these are truly addictions for a lot of people. Internet addiction. Don't like it, swipe. Don't like it, swipe. This is why the kids, it's bad for their little brains, right? Constant swiping, on to the next, on to the next. So they admit, okay, we know doctors might be better, but we don't have time for that, because it's about us and our balance, our lifestyle balance. I mean, I hear that a lot out of young people. It's like in Washington, no, we're not going to work 5 days because we don't do what you did. We have a life. This is what they say. I've heard this out of several mouths in the last few months. All right, then you're not going to have a job in Washington. And even New York is demanding people come back 5 days a week in the office. So we'll see. But this, I'm going to say it again, pendulum is swinging back. Let's check the comments. Um, I time slot is good. Not sure what that means. Oh, you mean this one, Rhonda? Warrior Wednesday Live at 5 o'clock. I don't want to go into anybody's dinner, but you might be here from, who knows, California, 3 hour time difference, going to your late lunch or something. We're just going to keep trying it. Consistency as much as I can do, unless I'm in Washington or somewhere else on a mission. I can't do it, but we're going to have consistency and work up from there. Fred says we almost need to create Rescue Live in mental health and counseling centers like the Salvation Army does for rehab. Let me tell you, the Salvation Army does tremendous, tremendous work. They have a division here in New York called Pearl Essence that deals with trafficking. I'm going to leave it at that. Most people don't know about it. They go out into the field. There's no judgment. Nobody's forcing anybody to do anything. They will bring supplies out into the streets. They will bring food. And they'll leave a card in case you do want to get some assistance. And they will take care of you. But they do a wonderful job year round. They are not given enough credit. And I'll tell you, the women I have worked with at the Salvation Army are wonderful, wonderful, good people. And they're all ages. They could be older than I am, young women in their 20s that are devoted to helping other people. So look up in your area if you have a Salvation Army and do what you can do to volunteer, to donate, to help them, because I am here to say they're human trafficking. People don't associate them too much with human trafficking. They are doing a wonderful job, not only here in New York, across our country. So remember that. Yeah, Alfred says they should sell some of their real estate holdings. I'm Catholic too. I don't know, just sell some stuff from the Vatican and that would cover everything, right? The grade schools and high schools. Yes, Alfred, thank you. Hit the like for Lynn. I want to, let's see what else I didn't cover. I didn't cover that I like to give you a little homework. What's the point of everything if we don't have a little homework, right? There is a wonderful, first of all, I want to make sure you go back and look at, I just interviewed Irv Brandt. That interview is up there, and he has a storied career in law enforcement. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because I want you to go and listen and watch this, okay? At least listen. And give me a like while you're at it. And Irv shares with us his law enforcement career, being a U.S. Marshal, his dealings with Interpol. What caught me about Irv, and I met Irv through Nancy Grace because I'm one of her experts. I'm on her panels, and Irv is there frequently as well. And I thought, I started reading about other people around the panel. And Irv, the body of his work is so incredible, which you'll find if you go find the interview, because I put it with all the links for Irv in this video body. It really got me and touched me because Irv said his most fulfilling work was arresting sex offenders, right? Traffickers. And he pointed something out I actually never really thought about. He was saying, if you murder somebody, unless you're a serial murderer, it's usually a one-time kind of thing, right? And you're done. You steal a car or like a bike, okay. But he pointed out that these predators, they keep reoffending, and that is the truth. So getting them off the streets, it is so important. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to contact Irv. Let him come on. He's a warrior. He came on. Excellent. Not only that, Irv now calls himself retired, but I don't know, one of the busiest men, I should say, that I've seen around lately, he's been writing books his whole life. These series called Jack Solo. Forever Solo is the newest book. So kind of based on him, I would say. But just go look for that interview. And also look for the interview. We're talking about AI. Two things the Warriors are going to go very heavy on in 2025. Educating you and taking action and legislation about artificial intelligence. Everybody's going to get a handle on this. We're going to know about it. You're going to know what to do with kids. You're going to know what to do with yourself. AI and AGI, this artificial generative intelligence. Okay, we'll leave that for a minute. The second thing we're going heavy on is boys and young men. The largest growing demo for human trafficking, slavery, boys. And nobody is talking about it. I call it a hole in the community that we need to step up, get them involved, bring men to the table, bring boys to the table, erase the embarrassment, and honor our hashtag community creates change, because that is what it's about. So we're going in with that. But I want you to look at uh, the interview I did with Rick Lane, and he's our tech policy expert in Washington. And I've known Rick for a while, and listen to everything he has to say about AI. Very interesting. That's your homework until we meet again. I want everybody to know things. So Fred says that was a great interview. I think you mean with Irv, because I saw you were on there. Thank you, Fred, for that. There's Leslie. Hi, Lynn. Good evening. Good evening. We're going to finish up now. Let me go back, make sure I didn't miss anything. Um, and a great big thanks to Lori Lewis. Everybody, there's a lot of hope out there. We must remain vigilant. We must remain warriors in our own minds, in our homes, in our communities, and just great things are happening. I'm really thrilled. I usually do not say that. We're also working on a bill. Actually, she's doing a lot of good work. Say what you want about Paris Hilton, but she's doing excellent work. We are working on a bill for Utah, and it's all about these youth camps, these youth homes for troubled teens, where parents, unbeknownst to them, when they get so frustrated, they don't know what to do with a teen, a child, they send them off. They think they'll get straightened out in these, wildlife camps or these labor kind of, and they pay a lot of money for it and all that. And it's just been a roller coaster, free for all. Paris is the victim of being sent to one of these, does not blame her parents. They didn't know any better as a teenager, but all of the abuse that goes on in these places, it kind of goes along with something. And it's funny when I say it to everybody, I'll say, we got to address the foster care system in the United States. And people have the same reaction, which is, oh, every person I've ever worked with, survivors of trafficking, exploitation, they don't even know each other, will say to me, I was re-traumatized, I was re-trafficked in those places. So those have to just be blown up, retooled. It's going to happen under President Trump and this administration. They are proactive. They want to protect you. They want to protect kids. They want to protect families. We're going to see a lot of action, but we need all of you. We cannot do this alone. So please honor our hashtag community creates change. Watch the interviews. Do what you can. Become a member of Lynn's Warriors for a mere $2.99. I have no shame a month. Let us build this community up. Let us be the leaders, not the predators. Thank you all for taking the time to join me tonight. I want each and every one of you, when you wake up every day, to go out and be a warrior. Thank you.